You've been talking about Wikipedia, how it works and the mechanisms about it, and how could the Wikipedia principles can be used for business?
In multiple ways, but always with a caution, in my opinion. What you really want is the enthusiasm and engagement of the contributors, not necessarily the full democratic discussion processes that you see on Wikipedia and how it self-governs. So you need to find a well-defined space, a use case for your wikis. An example from my own work or from SAP is, for example, using a wiki to engage with customers and partners, where you make an initial investment for the wiki, setting up a wiki to document your product, for example, but then open it up to your customers, business partners, the community, to add information that the community finds interesting. And that's what we see at SAP, that our product documentation is enhanced by the community in ways that our partners and customers find useful. And thereby everyone benefits, because SAP has less service calls and the community has an even better documented product.
Couldn't it also be very problematic because that user-generated content thing, the people maybe don't accept that their information is used for business purpose?
Mm-hmm. Well, so things can always go wrong. So you should not leave your wiki unattended, in particular if it's engaging with the ecosystem. When I gave you a specific example, so in that case, the outside world has write access. So yes, you need someone who gardens a wiki, that's the term being used, and watches out for so-called vandalism. On Wikipedia, that's a huge topic, and people are constantly monitoring the quality. And so you have to do it for your company wikis as well that you use for the ecosystem. Inside the company, there are other use cases for wikis. Inside the company, you don't have to worry about this so much, simply because people are known with their names, and so there's unlikely to be any vandalism.
How maybe could a wiki or the free wheel round be the basis for a real business model?
This is very broad. People use wikis for the internal business processes. There are lots of wikis being used, for example, for CRM systems. That's one aspect. Another aspect is to make money by providing wiki services. So there are companies that host wikis, there are companies that sell wiki software. There's an ecosystem of wiki consultants that help you get started with your wiki in your company to get people to this open collaboration that I've been talking about in my presentation. My guess is you're mostly interested in a broader use, how open collaboration really helps. I have to say Don Tapscott's example with Goldcorp is a great example, where basically a company selectively provided information that was relevant and put a price on having certain problems solved with finding gold in this case. There are many examples like this. In the US, Netflix has put out another challenge like this to have software developers come up with better algorithms to recommend what Netflix is a DVD rental company, what should be recommended to you for movies to watch based on your prior rentals and what you watched. I think that it is that you need to be careful about what wiki or wiki-like collaboration does for you, and typically it does not earn you the money. Let me try to be more specific by using open source, which has wiki-style collaboration because it's an open collaboration. Here, open source is what we call a go-to-market strategy, how you MySQL, the company, for example, uses open source as a go-to-market strategy to make that sale. What they make money off then is regular services that the customer actually buys. So why open source? Well, open source is an approach where they get user feedback early on, so that helps them build a better product because they provide it for free, and everyone can use it without having to pay. So everyone gets to it and uses it and provides feedback that is valuable. Then because it's being used in companies, the software is already there when the company finally, the possible customer company finally decides that they might need this software. So then a sale can follow up on this. And finally, it helps you basically be the first to market, so to beat out potential competitors. So these are goals of why a software company, or reasons why a software company might open source its product, but it's not how it makes money. It's how it goes to market. It's how it makes that sale, and then what is being sold in the open source case, or MySQL case, is actually something different. That is 24-hour support, that if something goes wrong, MySQL people are there to help you, and a couple of other things, premium features eventually. MySQL specifically doesn't do that really yet, but will eventually, I believe. So you use this community engagement model as a way of refining or defining a product, of bringing it to market, of making it visible to potential customers. But what you actually sell is typically services around that product. And so that has to follow up on this community process. And it creates unique challenges, as MySQL is currently learning.
So what are the disadvantages of open collaboration?
Disadvantages. You believe there are disadvantages? Now that I'm...
Are the dangers?
Yes, of course the question is, if you don't do it right, will you be wasting your efforts? So people who come to me and ask, like, how should I open source our software? There are lots of things that you can get wrong. And for example, you need to select the right license. If you do not have the proper license that clearly defines what rights, what people get, then you may not be able to enact your business model or sell specific things. That sounds very abstract. The point is, in each specific case, you need to think of how you can really reap the benefits of this community engagement, and it depends on the domain, the type of product, what can go wrong. If you need to look at how the contributions that the community makes, what the rights are, who has the rights to that, and if you are too restrictive, the community will not form and will not engage. If it's too loose and the community has all the rights, then you cannot make any money. So you need to strike a balance there. And again, that's very specific for the product you're selling.
And besides Wikipedia, which is your favorite example for open collaboration?
Open source in general, of course. Specific projects I like the Debian Linux system a lot. I'm using it, PostgreSQL. These are community open source projects, so not a lot of people are actually making money off it. But
do you have some recommendations for them, how they could make some money?
Oh, sure. I mean, there are, when I talked about MySQL, I actually described something that is called the dual license strategy as a go-to-market strategy. And that is one way of making money. So around PostgreSQL, which has a license that does not allow the MySQL model to work. PostgreSQL is a database. It basically competes with MySQL. It has a very different license where the community, where everyone has rights to do with the source code, the project, what they want, basically, simplifying. And so you make money by selling proprietary editions. A company called EnterpriseDB, for example, does that, has enhanced PostgreSQL with proprietary features that are not available to the general public. So you have very different business models around that. That's a whole different talk I could have given but didn't give today.
Okay, so thank you for that interesting points you've given.
Well, thank you very much for your questions, and I hope they were helpful.